Hi, Carolyn Dube here. I'm playing in my art journal today. I'm going with a Greek theme, and you'll see why in a minute. So grabbing some rubber stamps, these are from Toy Box rubber stamps, and just kind of putting them a random pattern around, not really thinking about it. Ended up going with the Roman numerals from, I think it's an American art stamp, and use those to kind of fill in where the gaps were. After doing one page, I realized I wanted this to be a two-page spread, so I just went and kind of randomly did it on the other side. I will say that all of a sudden I started thinking about it, and the randomness was hard to do, so I had to turn the good old brain off to actually get this to work out the way I wanted, so hey, I don't have to think as much. Woohoo! So now you can tell why I decided to go with the Greek theme for the rubber stamps. So working on this dictionary page, I have got Stitch a Greek Medallion by Maria McGuire for over at Stencil Girl Products, and I've decided to go with something very bold on this with the black so that it will really pop against the text. I am using a fairly dry brush on this, and it's kind of a thicker bristled brush, a firm bristled brush, so that I can use it to kind of pounce in there. If I'm really patient, I'll go up and down, but usually I just kind of slide it around. And what's going to happen with that, the way I do it, is sometimes I'm going to get some paint that goes underneath the actual stencil, and that doesn't bother me. If you've seen much of my stuff, you know that really doesn't bother me. If the drier the brush you use, the more detail that you get on the stencil. And I absolutely love all the different patterns that are on this stencil, and I love having a big circle. Really gives it a nice impact when you pull it up. You can tell how dirty this stencil is, so that gives you an idea of how many times I have played with this thing. Really, really love this stencil. And now you can see why I love it. Well, you'll only see for a second, but it'll come back, I promise. So a little tacky glue there, and then I'm going to put it down a little offset here, making sure it's even up past the fold. That's fine. It'll fold. Dictionary paper's thin. So I have these black frames. I'm really going with a black and white theme, which is actually pretty funny for me because, again, if you've seen many of my things, or have you subscribed to my YouTube channel? Then you'd see more of my videos. Sorry, shameless plug there. I tend to do things with lots and lots of bright colors, and for some reason this time I really wanted to go with a very classic sort of black and white look to this. Well, the frames that I'm putting on here are ones, you can see there's stuff on the other side. I'd saved them. I tried something with them, I mean, like 5 years ago, 8 years ago. It's just crazy how long I've had these things. So now what I'm doing is just using up the bits until it fills in. And it feels great to actually use up something that I've been hanging on to that long. And who knows why. It's crazy that I was hanging on to them that long. It's truly crazy. So I have to make a confession. As happy as I was to use up those black frames, once I put those on, all of a sudden I got this sort of knot in my stomach going, uh-oh, this doesn't look the way I thought it would. And I kind of had a choice. Am I going to turn back or am I going to push forward? And I thought, well, I've glued these down so I can't really peel them up, so we're just going to call it an oops and see where this takes me. Because an oops is just simply an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly that you usually didn't want. And what it turned out is I kept pushing through it, and because I was so unhappy with it at this point, it got me to use my pediment die cut on some black paper. And, you know, all of a sudden, I really, really liked it. Those black frames made me very happy all of a sudden just by adding this in. Now, I will admit that I'm fiddling with them a whole lot, trying to figure out where do I want them, will it give me the look I want? So I was very nitpicky with it. My muse was actually being somewhat of a nag with it, shall we say, in the back of my head, going, no, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, no, not there. But in the end, I actually do glue these things down, and I'm actually really happy with them. So, except for this technical difficulty stuff of this flash in here, so I'm really going to speed this up so we don't have to watch the flash. So now what I'm going to do is just stick on some various words that I've got here to finish off the page because it still felt a little incomplete, so nothing like a little text to top it off. This all that I've done today has been for Artsy Fartsy, and if you're not familiar with Artsy Fartsy, that's something that I do with Maria McGuire. We pick several items that we have to use in a project, and then we post about it on our blogs. But we post at the exact same time because neither one of us knows what the other one's doing until it's revealed. So even though we don't live near each other, we still manage to get creative, and it's almost like we're in the studio together. I will say that this one's, I'm just biting my tongue because I really want to show her this one, because this is a special edition of Artsy Fartsy, because that's her stencil right there in the middle, the Stitch a Greek medallion. And that was the thing that we had to use for Artsy Fartsy today. In honor of that was that stencil. And I have had a blast playing with that one, so I was thrilled that that was a part of our Artsy Fartsy today. And I would love it if you'd go and check out Maria's blog. I'll have all the links down below and see what she did with the stencil, because I'm sure it will look completely different than what I have. I've got a full blog post over on the blog. Strangely enough, if you put a blog post, of course you probably put it on a blog. But anyway, that has pictures and links and all that kind of stuff over there at acolorfuljourney.com. And I have a favor to ask. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd support my art and art journaling by sharing this video. Words cannot even begin to express how that kind of support fuels my creative spirit.